can guess you. So if you are a mentee and you want to start a new career or you want to have some boost in your career, you can find a lot of statistics on the internet and reviews that shows that mentoring is really improve career advancements. The second thing, there is some studies that people who have mentors, they have more self-confidence and they apply to higher salary, and that's good motivation to find a mentor, I think. Also, one more important thing in our life, especially on our COVID life right now, is find a mentor, and that will help you to make better well-being of every day in life. If you have mentor, you can have a feedback and you can understand that you maybe shouldn't overload yourself with work and etc. You can understand that everything already is fine. So there is a lot of reviews that mentoring programs help people to find more work and balance in their life. And we also launching this program, we really need to find mentors here. We want to motivate you to be a mentor. And first of all, being a mentor is of course about expanding the network. You can meet new people, you can find out what other people doing in your professional area and build new relationship. And that's very good. Also, it helps you to improve your communicational skills, improve your personal skills. With being a mentor, you can extension your impact in your professional area. There is studies that was building in the companies, and for example, for company having mentoring, it's really about extending culture of engagement. And I think it's important to improve this culture engagement in profession as whole area of our profession. And there is research that shows that women who are supported by other women feel more supported and more satisfied with the job, with the career. And it's really important thing that we want to bring here. It's never early to become a mentor. Also, mentoring helps you to develop leadership skills. Being a mentor means giving a feedback, helps to other to reach goals, and it's also about receiving a feedback on your leadership skills. And being a mentor is mean to improve your self-reflection and increase your self-awareness. So it's really great opportunity. And okay, we have here understanding that being mentees and being a mentor is cool, but in this world, how we can find a good mentor, how we can find people who we can be a mentor for. And here is the best part of our presentation because, oh, sorry, one more thing for mentors. Yeah, because it's something more surprisingly, but we found some research in that even mental health can be improved with being a mentor, because being a mentor of somebody is also developing self-confidence, and it's developing it's really good support right now on COVID, support for isolation, and it's also gives a feeling of being listened to somebody. And as a result, it even decreases the level of anxiety. And how to find a mentee, how to find a good mentor. here we came. Here we are. So let me tell why you want to be here. So we invite you to apply. If, for example, you learned already how to bring something and you want to start a career, but you don't know where to start, how to build good CV and etc. If you want to find a better job, if you want to find some tips to increase, to improve your profile, or if you want to get a promotion on your current job, or maybe you want to develop your leadership skills, you work hard on your technical skills, and now you want to be more collaborative, communicative person and don't know where to start. Or maybe you have your personal options that you want to improve something. We invite you here to apply as a mentee. The second for mentors. So again, if you want to start, extend your professional network, find out what other people doing in your professional area, what tools they're using, what helps they need. If you want to more contribute to your professional community, if you feel that you already have enough experience to share, if you understand, okay, that tips helped me to find a career, that tips helped me to deliver this cool project, or maybe you have your options that you have it inside that you want to share with others. We invite you here to apply. And again, remember, it's never too early to be a mentor for somebody. You probably already have good experience that you can share and help others. Examples of expertise that we expected here. So it's a lot of expertise right now in IT that market requires. It can be backend, front-end development. It can be some DevOps skills, some quality assurance skills. It can be wide knowledges in distributed system, in architecture. It's probably data science area, machine learning. Data engineering also is really wide branch where it's a lot of experience that can be shared. Mobile development like Android, iOS, again, wide sphere. Also, we expect if you business, if you have skills in business analysis, if you're working as business analyst, you are also welcome. If you're product or product manager, if you're engineering manager, you are very welcome. If you work in with network engineering, if you know languages like Java, Python, JavaScript, Scala, C, C++, C#, Kotlin, Go, other language, you're welcome. Come and fill in the form. And this is one more thing. What we expect from you. First of all, you should clearly define what you want to achieve during this mentorship program. Do you want to build a new career? Do you want to have a promotion on your job? Do you want to develop your work-life balance? You need to put a clear goal here. Then we expect that you can contribute on regular basis. So it can be 1 hour per week or 3 hours per 2 weeks. It depends of your decision with your mentor. If you're a mentor, you can agree it with mentees. If you're a mentee, you agree it with mentor. And you should be ready to provide good feedback, constructive feedback. And also, it's really important then when you found each other, you track your progress, how you go into these goals that you defined. What we will do, our steps. First of all, we call for mentors. We will send Google form. You came and fill this Google form. So you should say which area you have expertise, also which help you can provide to mentees. You can say what options you can provide, how many hours in week per 2 week per month you available for contribute in this program. And then when we have enough profiles with our mentors, we call mentees as a next step. Again, you want to start new career, you want to improve your work-life balance, you want to improve your self-confidence and get the promotion, you want to find better job. You come and fill the Google form and you define your goals, what you expect, how many hours you can contribute. And then we do matching. We see that this person want to contribute with hours, this person with hours. First of all, of course, expertise, languages, area, and we see if people really can help each other. When you are ready to start, you notify the coordinator, you notify us, and we check, we put you on the track, and we help you track the progress. Some tips here. We supervise the pair, mentor mentee, for at least 3 months. And it doesn't mean that you should commit for 3 months. You probably need only some little boost, and 2 weeks will be enough for you. It depends. Maybe you want to work with somebody for 6 months to develop new skills for new area of expertise. You put what you want in the forms in your profile, and first 3 months we will track your progress and help you with your progress. You need to agree with mentee or mentor. You should agree how many time you can commit. Next thing, mentors can organize study groups. That means that probably, as I can imagine, somebody wants to learn new language, and there is several people, and you can organize study groups. So probably you will do some solutions, problem solving, or something like this. It's up to you. It's an option that we also can help you manage. We expect you set clear goal, and we also advise you have a good retrospective during your active, of course at the end, to provide feedback to each other, probably even during the mentorship programs that you organized. And you can use any tools you like. So you can create meetings in Google Meetings, in Zoom, as you wish. You can use some Google documents to share with each other, GitHub, anything that you like. And to track your progress, you can create Trello dashboard, put what you are doing, and get this task to be solved. So it's up to you. Okay, I hope I give you enough information, and I want to give a microphone to Mary, and to start a discussion here, our panel discussion. And if you have any questions, please provide in the chat. I see that some questions already came, but I can't read it while I do presentation. So all questions that you have, put it in the chat. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Irina. Thank you very much. You can probably start presenting, stop presenting now, and that would be really cool. All right, so yeah, as per questions, you can drop them in the chat. We will get to them at the end. And welcome to our panel discussion. My name is Mary Goodman. I'm a software engineer at Bogue, UK, and I'm going to moderate this discussion today. And our topic is mentorship, how to start. And we're going to have a great discussion, great conversation with our experts, and we're going to try to answer some common questions on mentorship. And yeah, very excited. We will have questions, the Q&A session at the end. You can already write your questions down below. You can probably write the letter Q before your question, so we know that this is in fact a question, and we'll make sure to get to it. All right, so let's start with a short introduction from our experts. Let's start with Jamica, and could you tell a bit about yourself and your mentorship experience?
Hello, everyone. My name is Jamica. So I'm an engineering manager for a Fintech. I guess it's now called a scale-up because it's about 500 people now, based in London. And I've been here in London for 6 years now. I was originally born in the Philippines, and I worked both in the Philippines and Japan for a few years before moving here. And I was originally a software engineer. And when I moved here to London, I recently switched to the engineering manager career. And as you may know, the job of a manager involves quite a lot of mentorship. So first and foremost, it's part of the job. It's crucial for, hey, hello, there's a Filipino in the crowd, amazing. It's crucial for the job because my main remit is to help people grow, mainly in my team. And as I become more of a senior engineer, I also had to mentor quite a lot of younger engineers outside of my team, so to increase, the impact. And yeah, in the last few years, I've been doing this both formally and informally through programs like this one that we're launching today with different communities. So it's also, they all offer different experiences, and I'm both a mentor and a mentee. So I have mentors myself with much more experienced women in my network. And yeah, I just regularly speak with each and every one of them on different topics, really. And it's the same for my mentees. So at any given point in time in their careers, they might have different questions or goals. And so I kind of just adjust as I go. And that's roughly, I guess, my mentoring experience in a nutshell.
Thank you, Jamica. Julia, would you like to go next?
Yes, thank you. My name is Julia Vaschenko. I'm a staff software engineer at MECPO. It is a Ukrainian Kyiv-based software company. I'm also a COCO area lead at the company, and I'm one of the directors of Women Who Code Kyiv. Together with others, I work on our Kyiv mentoring program. We have launched it, as it has been mentioned earlier, a little bit than a year ago, just before the pandemic. And basically it helped us the whole year through because it's been mostly online, and we got people involved, and we got many mentee mentors pairs launched. And I personally believe that it has been successful. So I'd love to share a little bit of experience that I got during this year with you. And also, as Jamica said, I can feel as I'm being a mentor and a mentee sometimes. Maybe not always we officially, but still I got lots of help during my career, and it helped me a lot. And I believe that helping each other is the way up. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. Helen, would you add your story?
Hey, I'm Helen. I'm a software engineer, been in the industry for over 10 years, and I started mentoring around 7 years ago when I first got junior developers in my direct supervision. And after that, I proceeded to organizing study groups, and then I done a couple of courses on within Women Who Code Kiev. And yeah, I forgot to tell you that I'm an architect of Women Who Code Kiev. I was one of the people who started that community and helped it grow from 0 to, by the time I left, it was 800 people. And for the past 2 years, I've been a director of Women Who Code London network. And mentorship, in my opinion, is important for both mentee and mentor. When I mentor my mentees, sorry for tautology, I tell them whatever I wish I would have been told, so I would not have seen the obstacles I have seen, or I would not have struggled so much. So it's both paying forward and caring about the community, but honestly, there is also a selfish side to that, because while mentoring, I also grow a lot. I evaluate my technical expertise, because when you develop technically, you develop like day by day and you don't notice that progress. But once someone asks you a question, you're like, hey, I mean, I know that's super easy and I already figured it out and I'm going to share it. So it's super useful for your self-validation, and also the way you explain things, it tells a lot about your not just leadership skills, but also your professionalism. Because I think Richard Feynman said it, but yeah, probably a lot of people have said it. If you can't explain it, you don't really understand it. So explaining is an essential part to understanding the problem.
Thank you, Helen. Great point. Sarah, would you like to also tell us about your experience in mentorship?
Sure. Hi, my name's Sarah, and I am a senior backend and data engineer at Sneak, where I also run the engineering mentorship program. I've only been there about 6 months, and I think I did that in my first month, so very industrious, but so far so good. I think I started my mentorship journey out by running workshops. I'd always wanted to be a teacher, but I also wanted to make money. So I became a software engineer instead. And I ran workshops for a while, and I kind of gradually fell into mentorship. I'm sure like fair amount of people do, where you gain more experience. So you end up teaching the younger folks around you that join your teams. But in the last about 2.5 years, I've been much more formally mentoring, and I've helped about 30 ladies get into tech or stay in technology, which I'm really, really proud of. And absolutely agree with what everybody has said in terms of being a mentor and a mentee. I don't think you ever stop being a mentee. And yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet. Thanks.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, and it's great achievement. I'm super impressed. All right, so I guess my question would be, what can you expect from being a mentor or from being a mentee? What are key benefits that you would like to get from mentorship? And let's start with Jamica again.
Right. So in terms of being a mentor, the most surprising thing I found was how much I learned, and this is probably repeated many times with people who talk about mentorship. As a mentor, you yourself would tend to learn a lot about how far you've come, which is the first and nice thing about when people, either when they're getting started or asking for advice on pursuing something you've achieved, and you having to articulate that makes you learn a lot about yourself, and then also makes you appreciate how far you've come. So those two things to me is always the mind-blowing experience when I mentor someone, especially when they come to you with specific goals that they think they want to achieve, and you personally have done it. So that's really the main benefit of, for me, being a mentor. With regards to being a mentee, the main benefit is getting a lot of points of view, because there's obviously the state of myself in my mind, like this is what I think my current skill sets are, and this is what I think I'm good at. And most of the time, mentors would be the best people to point out to you, them being outside or removed from your environment, what the reality is. It's a really good reality check when you're a mentee and someone is telling you, look, this is how I see it. This is where I think you're at. And it's even much, much better when they're able to tell you, what you can do to actually realize what you have in your head, as in what you think your state of, skills are. So that would be the benefit of being a mentee for me.
Thank you. Someone wants to add something to this? Maybe Julia, would you like to add something?
Yeah, sure. The benefits, I think that there is a little bit of displacement, which is common. When people talk about mentorship, they usually think about mentees and their needs. But as you've highlighted in the presentation on the slides earlier, there are a lot of takeaways from mentors. And I'm not sure who gets more. It's a two-way road. And I believe that relationship works only when you give and you get. And this is how you make it sustainable. And this is how you make it in the long run. Because in the short run, of course, you can give something. It's more like a consultation, something like that. But if you want to do it in the long run, it has to be an exchange. So I think it's super important to highlight the benefits of the mentors. First, setting a goal, it is a problem that all the peers face, and many mentees come with a vacant understanding of what they want. Like, I want to be better, I want to be paid better, something like that. But you need to have specific concrete goals that you can achieve in specific concrete terms. And this is where the work starts, both for the mentor and the mentee, when they have to realize what can be quantified steps to this goal. How can we measure it? How can we achieve it? And this is the beginning, and it's tough sometimes. And this is only the first thing, only the first steps. Mentor is taught how to set a goal, not only for themselves, but for a mentee as well. And then we are moving forward, and we are facing another topic that I like a lot: feedback, giving feedback, receiving feedback, criticism, praise, how to do it, how never to do it, how not to make a person feel bad. It's not that easy. And that's another thing that both parties can learn. And this is very useful in life, at work, like everywhere. And it's not easy to learn. And this is like a small place where you can practice it. And I think that's very much for the mentor. Of course, it's also planning skills. We have to achieve something like in 3 months term, and we want to see success, so we need to plan for that. Then it's managing experience. Okay, I'm as a mentor, I'm managing just one person, but still it's already managing. And when you learn the skills, you can manage more people, and then you can move up your career.
Right. Yeah. I think I have a good segue to my next question. So how actually a typical mentoring session looks like for you? Let's start with Helen for this one.
The first session starts with me apologizing that I'm going to be blunt. I do not want to appear rude or anything, but I'm going to ask my mentee very direct questions. And I ask with a very straightforward question: what do you want to get out of this? And this is where a lot of people, they get paralyzed. What do you want? Like, yeah, generally, like, I want to get a promotion. I want to, yeah, like, specify and let's work on this. And I also directly ask for expectations, like, what do you want from me? How would you want our relationship to go further? Like, how can I help you? Let's establish some rules. It is super important to establish boundaries from the day one, because I remember my first mentee when I just started doing it. It was my colleague from my team. He was a junior person, just graduated from university. And what that colleague was doing, whenever he had a question, and we were sitting like desks next to each other, and I would be like coding, like all in my monitor, like thinking about that. He was sitting right from me. He would put his hands onto his lap, move in his chair, and crawl to me, which was super scary because I was not looking at that side. I was just like, something moving at me. I understand that something is moving at me. And he had questions like every 40 minutes. I'm like, yeah, okay, let's establish some boundaries. So whenever I come to the office, I dedicate 1 hour in the morning. I'm ready to answer any of your questions. And I dedicate like half an hour in the evening. Let's combine your questions. For non-team relationship, non-team mentorship, it would be easier, I think, because you're not working directly. So you just communicate it in advance. We are going to catch up every week or every 2 weeks, and that's it. But boundaries are super important for everyone.
Thank you. For sure, something like that happened to everybody. Sarah, would you like to tell us about your mentoring session? How does it look like?
Sure. I guess it's slightly different for every person, but I definitely agree on the boundaries and the expectations. Something that your mentor isn't going to do is solve all your problems. So you really should try your best to think about what it is you want to work on. You don't necessarily have to know exactly what it is, but you can just say, my problem in general is I'm really struggling with this piece of code or with my team member or whatever it is. And your mentor can help you dig into the real problem there. But I guess all my sessions are ideally time boxed. I do like to chat, so it's very important to try and time box those sessions and keep to point. They should be on a very specific topic and usually planned in advance, ideally, so that you can get the most out of the session.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think my next question, unless someone wants to add something to this one, my next question is something that I've heard about many occasions, and it's basically when it's a good time to start mentoring. Am I ready to be a mentor? Yeah, who wants to jump on this one?
Can I start? When
Helen,
I announced, so we have a global directors chat, like with directors from all over the world. And when I mentioned that we are launching mentorship program in London, and we want to reiterate specifically how it is important and beneficial to apply to be a mentor, my boss commented, yeah, I've seen so many women who apply to be mentees who could be mentors.
Yes, and it's very clear. Even to me, it's very clear because you see all these beautiful and interesting people, and you think, okay, I'm not that good, right? I think that's pretty common. Maybe someone wants to add when it's a good time to be a mentor.
Yeah, I can. I have something to say about that. We thought about that when we were launching the program. We actually added an FAQ with this specific question because we understood that it's gonna be popular. So my take on that is, if you are a junior, you can help an intern. If you are a middle or regular engineer or anyone, you can help a junior and the intern. And this is how it works for me. So if you have a little bit more of experience, you have something to share, and that's it. So no need to wait 20 years until you feel confident, and maybe 5 years more just to be sure. I think that there's no need for that.
Jamica, I think you were going to say something also.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I'm also very experienced. I've been working for 12 years now. But the interesting thing is that I've had mentors who were much younger than I was. So that's also a very interesting mentorship relationship, because it doesn't matter if someone is less experienced than you, there will be something that you can bring to the table. So in my case, there's someone at work who I just have regular catch-ups with this person to get in touch with the latest tech. So as an engineering manager, I don't really have that much time to do hands-on coding or even pay attention to like the latest technical trends. And I tend to rely on my younger mentors to actually keep me up to date with those kinds of things. So yeah, it's never too early to mentor someone, even someone who might be older than you, because there is something that is beneficial with wherever you are in your career.
Thank you, Jamica. And that's an amazing segue for my next question, which is, okay, how do I know that I could benefit from a mentor? And can it be too late to be mentored? Let's start with Sarah, maybe.
Oh my gosh, too late to be mentored. Goodness. There's not enough lifetime to learn all the things. So it's never too late to be mentored. And I don't think it's too late to ever be a mentee either. Yeah, I had to get that off my chest there. What was the question?
Right. Basically that, but also, how do I know that I can get a mentor for something that I'm struggling with, I guess?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably the most difficult part, because trying to find somebody who has the expertise or experience that you're looking for and has the time to share those with you is quite tricky. But people are out there. Obviously, this program is one of those solutions, but there are multiple mentorship programs throughout the entire world. And COVID has really actually helped with this situation, because so many things are now accessible globally. You can probably much more easily find a mentor, even if they're not necessarily local to you. So that would be an option. The next option is your own network. Have a look at who is around you. It's highly likely that the person who can help you is fairly close to you for some more immediate things that you might want mentorship with, like more short-term career goals or current problems. So look to your own network, look to your colleagues, just open the directory at work and scroll through the people. You might find someone that you didn't even know existed who could help you, and they work in the same office that you do. So try your best to expand your network, and you'll be quite likely be successful in finding a mentor for sure.
Thank you. That's a great tip. That's very interesting. I think I have a question regarding management. So Jamica, you're engineering manager, and as you said, engineering involves mentoring. So I'm wondering, did you change your perspective on mentoring when you started to manage people? And if you did, how?
I think the mentoring itself, in terms of the rubric of it, setting expectations, boundaries, that sort of thing didn't really change much, but the focus changed a lot. So when I was a senior engineer, a lot of the advice or help that was sought from me was more specific to very specific goals in terms of achieving an expertise in a platform or a programming language. And these are very, I guess they're much more specific compared to once I started managing people. The mentorship there is much more vague. So there wouldn't be like a concrete goal, like, you know, I want to be like the expert in Python, or I want to be able to build a website. So the coaching, if you will, that happens there is a bit more nebulous, and that might be the biggest change that I had. And I had to get better as a mentor. I had to get much better at giving people potential directions as opposed to being prescriptive. That's another big difference. When I was an engineer, I can go, here are the 2 best practices, or here are the 2 different paradigms that you can solve a particular problem, right? You can talk about in that way. Whereas if someone comes to me and says, oh, I want to make the jump to management, and management itself, it's a very, you know, it's so varied as a profession. And it also depends a lot on where people are, like what company they're working in, whether that's corporate or a startup. So it's much more vague, and that's really it's still a challenge for me as a mentor to help people, guide them without being too prescriptive about here's what you should do, because that's very variable depending on where people are.
Right. Yeah, I can imagine that's a huge struggle. Yeah, Helen?
I have a point to add here. At certain level of seniority for an engineer, and by seniority I don't mean a senior engineer, I mean like maybe like middle engineer, doesn't matter. At certain point, not only engineering starts to matter, but also politics, and how do you navigate in that politics, and providing an advice, even for an engineer, how do you make your thing work? How do you deliver this project? How do you convince stakeholders that this project is super important? How do you navigate conflicts? How do you deal with a difficult team member? Honestly, those are super invaluable advices. And yeah, I get those questions all the time. It's not only engineering, it's also how do I navigate the corporate world?
Yeah, that's a great point. Definitely with growing responsibilities, you get more things like the need for people skills, right? It's quite important. Yeah, anything more on this? I guess we could also talk about another perspective. So Julia, I think you mentioned that you were participating in developing a mentorship program in Kiev, and I imagine you had lots of reads of mentoring applications and compiling these matches and stuff like that. Did it change your perspective on mentorship? And if it did, how?
Well, you know, I'm gonna share an unpopular opinion. I became a little bit more harsh on people because, yeah, sorry, just the truth. The thing is that we thought about helping. We were making accent that we are helping people to start, for example, their first job, to switch into IT from other fields of expertise. And I discovered that people who are switching and who are starting, they require lots of mentors' time and input, and they don't always understand at the beginning that the way that is ahead of them, that it could be long, and it's not that easy. It's not a month to switch to another profession. And that's why we had some pairs that broke up, because the mentee didn't realize at the beginning how much work it's going to take. And after that, I remembered one thing that we were told at the director's training in Women Who Code, that the organization works with the first people to work with are engineers with 2 years experience. And during our program, I realized that actually these people are the most valuable for the program, because they make the highest jumps, and they already understand where they are, and they are very eager to learn something more, and they already understand that having a person who can answer a question that you cannot Google is priceless. These people already understand that. People who just start, they sometimes can't tell the difference between the mentor and Google, and I think they just don't know what's the difference. So yeah, I became a little bit more harsh on choosing people who are going to participate. I'm trying to pick ones who have experience, who already have experience, and that's not something I like, because I really want to help people to switch and to start their careers. But for now, I haven't found a solution for that problem. The program works best with people who already have some experience and want to get more.
And I have solution for your problem, actually, because when we just started the community in Kiev, we started a course on, it was based on MIT,
Python.
Yeah, Python, Introduction to Computer Science and Programming using Python. And
yeah.
So we had around 100 applications for that course. We picked 30 people, 28 women and 2 men for diversity. And and honestly, from those 30 people, I think graduated something like 25. Half of that understood the course very well. And a few of them actually have made switches to IT. And like this course, it bumped them, it enabled them to make that switch. It has ensured they have the necessary basic skills to do it. And then you can go to deeper mentoring. So basically this course is just like you take a bunch of people and you see who sticks. I mean, sorry for sounding harsh, but that's true. And that's okay. Not everyone should program. Not everyone should be a software engineer.
Yeah, well, and it actually sounds really nice. You don't spend time on each one individually. You just put everyone in a group, and it sounds efficient. Thank you.
And what we observed there, a lot of questions actually, we mentors, we were just waiting for, like, we were given deadline for the questions. Like, if no one answers this question like within a day, then we are going to answer this question. In the majority of cases, the group students, they would answer those questions themselves to each other. And like, my job is done. Part. Big job.
Okay, I'm going to contact you about that after the event, okay?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, happy to share.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's super interesting. I just want to add, like, really quickly, it's a quote from my mentor from a million years ago, who, when I was starting programming, was always starting a phrase from, "Let me help you, Google." Because as we know, Googling is a skill, and you need mentors sometimes to just help it with that.
There used to be a horrible website. I don't know whether it still exists. It was called Let Me Google for You. And you put a Google request there and it generates a link that then opens Google and puts that link, this query there. It's super harsh and super mean, but sometimes, unfortunately, it's a necessary evil.
Sometimes. All right.
Sometimes, not default.
Yeah. So I have this one question, which is very pressing. So I'm a perfectionist. I always need to know that I do something really well. Or if I don't, for some reason, I need to know how to improve. So I want to know what's a good mentoring for you, and how to do a good job as a mentor, and how to do a good job as a mentee. And this question is for all panelists. And let's start with, I guess, Sarah, if you'd like to start on this.
Gosh, I think as a mentor, I do measure how, sorry, I'm trying to think and talk at the same time. But I guess what I like to see is that the people I'm mentoring are actively getting better. because otherwise we're both wasting our time. So I guess that's, and sometimes that's complex to measure if it's a little bit more on the core skills and people skills side of things, but it's a lot easier to measure if it's on technical skills. So definitely measuring if people are actually getting better, if people are coming back to you, that's always nice. Not every mentor-mentee relationship works out, and sometimes it's better to part ways, but when it does work, hopefully they feel comfortable coming back to you. As a mentee, I switch that around. So by going to that person, do I see myself actually getting better? Am I performing better at work? Am I getting better at the particular skill that I'm going to that person for? Yeah, I don't know if someone has particular KPIs that they look at beyond that.
Let's see. Helen, would you like to add something?
Yeah, I would say it's proactivity for both sides. One of my mentees, and I told her directly that I so much respect what she's doing. She sends me an agenda before every meeting. So not only she like underlines what her goals are, but also I have some time to prepare and maybe to find some extra resources. So this proactivity and clear goal setting is super important for me as a mentor, like when I'm mentoring mentees. And for the opposite side, for mentees, I would say trust is very important. As a mentee, you should feel comfortable asking certain questions to your mentor that you would not ask your boss, for example. Like you might have some difficult situations or you don't want to show your weakness. You should be able, you should feel comfortable and empowered to show your weakness with your mentor. And this is why sometimes mentor-mentee relationship doesn't work. Those people don't click, and that's fine. I mean, it's totally human. You just find another mentor until you click. This clicking is absolutely essential for mentor-mentee relationship. It is not as important for colleagues because you still can work together, but for mentor-mentee, it's a must.
All right, yeah, makes sense. Jamica?
Yeah, I think I would add to the proactivity is also the honesty and also being open to honest feedback. And I think, it also feeds back into, when Julia was saying that sometimes it can feel harsh when you're giving feedback, especially when it's very specific. As a mentee, you have to be open to the idea that your idea of yourself, as in what your state is or your skill or how other people perceive you, might not necessarily match with yourself. So you have to be open to maybe listening to some hard truths and maybe having some hard conversations, that would make the relationship work, right? So there's proactivity, and also part of the clicking is the honesty and being open to that, even if it might be something you might not want to hear. And so a lot of that relies on you, and that's the same for mentors. A mentor would often, try to assess the situation, and it's a situation where you're not in, right? You're not working with them, you're not their boss, and you may have to, you may make mistakes in interpreting a situation. So as a mentor, you also have to be open to that. So it goes both ways. The feedback and openness and honesty is quite important, and I think that feeds into the clicking part of the relationship. If you even if you had so many things in common, but you're not quite ready to have that open attitude to enter before entering into a mentorship relationship, then it will be very hard for it to work.
Right. Julia?
Yeah, I agree with everything that was said before, and just wanted to add something. I see it as, for a mentee, I see that a good mentee, as I can imagine, is someone who has thought through the goals, and someone, as Helen said, So what do you want from me? What do you want from this relationship? And without, and to be as concrete and as specific as one could get. So a good mentee is someone who like really helps to set the expectation and of the result of this work. From the mentor's point of view, it's their job to find a way. For example, yeah, we could actually measure it. For example, if we take OKRs, some kind of framework for goal setting, right? SMART goals, objective key results, SMART goals, KPIs, like whatever. So here, a mentor can actually set these quantitative expectations that will let us measure at the end. I believe that it is the mentor's work. And the last one and the most important one probably is, did we achieve those goals? And that's 50-50% for a mentee and for a mentor. That's shared responsibility. That's our common goal. And basically, I would say that a good mentee, as you would probably want to be, is someone who comes with clear goals and do everything that they can to achieve those goals, to see through that part that depends on them. And a good mentor is the one who can build the process of reaching these goals and sees their part through to getting there. So at the end, we have a win.
Thank you very much. Very interesting points. I want to note to the audience that we have a couple more questions to talk about, and then we move into Q&A. So that's a brilliant time to put your questions into chat. If you can start with a Q, that's great. And very soon we're going to get to. All right. So my next question is, as you mentioned, sometimes mentorship just doesn't work. Like the match doesn't work between people. And I'm wondering, have you ever had a difficult match, and how did it work out? Does someone want to jump on it? Yeah, Jamica?
Yeah.
Oh, Julia. All right, let's start with you.
Okay. I personally didn't, but I had several pairs in our program who didn't match, and I tried to help them to give feedback to one another, like to describe what's going wrong and what's going right and why it doesn't seem to work, so they both will be on the same page. And it ended up that we just switched the pair. So we found another mentee, another mentor. For these pairs, we have, thanks God, we have lots of the fulfilled forms, and we can afford this.
Right. I saw, Jamica, you were reaching for unmute. That's why I called you.
Yeah, it's all right. So I think in my case, there's a lot of attempts on my part as a mentee that didn't quite work out, because at this stage in my career, a few people that I'm trying to reach out to are quite experienced people. So some of them would be super busy, and so they won't always have the time or bandwidth to have this formal mentor relationship. But some of them do offer that you can just send me an email and we can have this asynchronous type of consultation whenever you have issues, for example. So that's one way of, I guess, when a mentor doesn't have the bandwidth, or maybe they might, after assessing, the request from a mentee and say, I actually don't have the experience that you're looking for. But if you have any questions, they open the communication channel asynchronously. I just won't be able to have access to them directly on a regular basis. So that's one way they've kind of, I guess, nicely turned me down. But on my part as a mentor, I don't think I've had the experience where it didn't quite work out. In a few cases, I would have been too busy or run out of bandwidth to keep helping someone, in which case I kind of just learn from my mentors or people who I try to ask, and politely decline the relationship in that manner. They don't just say no. They offer help or offer to introduce me to someone else. So that has happened before as well. So that's as far as not working out goes for myself.
Right. Any more for anyone? All right, then I have my final question, and it's also for all panelists. Any final tips on how to make the mentorship effective and efficient? And or any cool story from your mentorship experience? Let's start with Helen maybe for this one.
I would say the main tips for success is goal setting, boundary setting, and trust. Because as Jamica has mentioned, sometimes you learn from people who are more junior than you, not just by age, but by also by level of seniority, yet still they have something to teach you. And it's super important as a mentee to not take things personally, to have what is called growth-oriented mindset versus fixed mindset, to be able to perceive constructive feedback. And yeah, as a mentor, I have to share a tip of how to deliver negative feedback. So what you do, first, again, I don't know how scientists have measured this, but the current theory is that you need 10 minutes of conversation for person's neurons to get warmed up, to like open for a like normal conversation. So you chat for 10 minutes about weather, like well-being, something like not directed to this negative feedback. Then you say something good to person. Then you say something bad to person. And then you finish with something good. That's why a person still has those like warm feelings that, yeah, I've got 2 appraisals and only 1 bad thing, yet still they do pay attention to this negative feedback that they have received.
Yeah, that's a great tip. The famous sandwich, I guess that's called. Julia, would you like to go next?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about feedback as well. I thought what I could recommend, and it's like lots of stuff. But if I have to choose one thing, probably you've heard there is this podcast called Radical Candor, and it's made by managers, but I believe that it could be very useful to mentors and mentees, especially the first season. The episodes are only like 20 minutes long, so they are not very long. And it has episodes called like Take Feedback Like a Boss, Radical Candid Criticism, Ruinous Empathy and Criticism, How to Give Feedback to Your Boss, How to Get Feedback from Your Boss, and stuff like that. And I found it very, very useful to me. It helped me several times, and now this is the thing that I recommend to all mentors and mentees. I encourage you to listen to several episodes, even if you're not a podcast person. Believe me, I'm not. I haven't listened to any podcast in my life, any another one, but this is gold.
Thank you. That's a great suggestion. I love that book. Sarah,
Yeah.
would you share some tips?
Sure. I think we've said a lot of good things about expectations and boundaries, and I don't think we can repeat that enough. Something that crops up a lot is people going out for mentors and expecting coaches, which are 2 quite different kinds of relationships. A mentor really is there to help you solve kind of very, very specific goals. They're not going to call you to make sure that you're doing those things. It's really, really up to you. And it's just something to be aware of when you're signing up as a mentee, that you want to have quite specific goals. And if you need a coach, do not sign up for a mentorship program. Go and find a coach who's going to help you persist through your goals in other ways that are not knowledge. And something I wanted to add about how do you know when you're ready to mentor. I often tell people at work, because I like them to sign up for the program, is sometimes in your team, you will find that over time, you sort of naturally become the go-to person for something within your team. I usually find that this is a good time to think about being a mentor for that topic, because even though you may not be the most ultimate expert and you're giving talks and you've read all the books, you still have a lot of knowledge that people are going to you for already. And that's a really good indicator that you probably have something to share. And that can happen really, really early on. So look out for that situation, and then, sign up for a mentorship, be a mentor, and give it a bash, because you never know. Yeah, I could probably go on and on, but I'll let the next person give their tips.
Yeah, thank you. That was an amazing tip, because signing up for a mentorship program, it's definitely a win. Last but not least, Jamica.
Well, there's plenty of things have already been said, and yeah, in terms of setting expectations and boundaries. I think one thing I always remind mentees when especially when times get tough, is that your mentor, in the same way that Sarah has mentioned, that your mentor is not your coach, your mentor is also not your therapist. It's very important to keep in mind, because mentors are there. They will support you when times get tough for that specific thing that you're trying to achieve. But when I guess it's also related to setting boundaries, right? You set boundaries in terms of also to which kind of advice they feel qualified to give you, right? So in terms of other areas of your life, I guess at some point maybe your relationship can evolve into something like more like friendship, then by all means, right? But sometimes I have relationships with mentors that is strictly set to we have a mentor and mentee relationship, and I'm here to help you achieve this very specific thing, or help you move along in this very specific point in your career. But they wouldn't necessarily be there to advise me when I'm having a mental health crisis or something like this. So it's very important to keep that in mind when you're entering a mentor and mentee relationship.
Right.
I want to add to this, while definitely mentor is not your therapist, by no means, please don't perceive mentors as therapists. However, it would be super great if mentors were able to, at least with some chance of success, notice signs of burnout, because usually when a person gets burned out for the first time, they don't understand that. They don't know what's happening until like they're at the breaking point. It's like there is this theory of boiling frogs. If you put a frog into hot water, it understands that, oh, I am boiling, like I'm dying. But if you put the frog into cold water and you put this like pot on the stove and you gradually increase the temperature, the frog is not going to understand what's happening. And as someone more experienced, it would be nice to give advice on this, because let's be honest, the majority of us get burned out at some stage.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Definitely, that's something that I'm trying to reach to other people as a mentor, and explain this, that you don't have to work 24 hours, 7 days a week in order to reach success. That's really important to know. I guess that's it with the questions, and thank you very much. We're gonna move to Q&A. We have some time left. And again, to the audience, if you would like to ask questions, you can either drop it in the chat, or you can just write that you want to ask a question, and I'll call your name, and you can ask it yourself. So I see the first question here is there any difference? Is there any difference having to mentor or being a mentee before and during lockdown? How did it help you having mentor-mentee during pandemic? Who would like to take this one?
I guess I can start.
Sure.
And so before the pandemic with my mentees, I always went to coffee shops with them. And that's always a good environment to have these conversations because it can be very casual. But now I don't have that benefit. But the upside of it, I guess the silver lining of this is that a lot of my mentees, most of them live alone, or they're in a house share and they're isolating from their housemates. So the mentor and mentee relationship tends to be a reprieve from the constant, they talk to the same people because they have to stay in the bubble, and so the mentor and mentee relationship that we have had been very helpful, especially for those who have had to isolate or had to live in small spaces and while working from home. So that was a constant I guess relief for them, and it's the same for me when I get to talk to my mentors. It's a welcome relief. It's just too bad that I can't buy them a coffee because I was so used to just either buying them a coffee or just giving them a small gift as an appreciation for the time they've spent with me, and I can't really do that right now. So I kind of feel a little bit guilty for just taking their time without giving anything back. But they're perfectly fine with that. And it's a bit ironic because I say the same thing to my mentees if they kind of like, oh, I can't buy you a coffee or something. I was like, yeah, that's fine. Like, we can't do anything about it. So yeah.
That's a good one. We have another question. So when is the right moment to look for a mentor? What are the knowledge and skills you need to have in order to be prepared to be mentored? I think that's an interesting one.
I can go with this one. So if you have a goal that you can clearly describe, it's a good time to find a mentor. That's it.
That's very good. Anyone wants to add something? That's great. I see that some of the questions in the chat were already answered. If I missed something, that's a perfect time to tell me that I missed somebody's question, because we have a couple more minutes. Or if someone from the panel wants to add something or some final thoughts that you want to share.
I shared 2 books in the chat that I usually recommend to my mentees. One of them is How to Navigate Corporate World When You're a Woman, because honestly, lots of books on leadership that I read, they made me hate the world. I mean, like, I constantly had the question, do I have to be that mean to succeed? Like, I refuse that. I mean, I can be mean, but I don't want to. Like, why do I need to do that? So yeah, you can succeed without being mean and without pushing with your elbows, because the environment evolved so much. We are no longer in 1950s. We are way to the 21st century. So we have to be nice to each other. We have to work in teams. And the other book that I recommend is called The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. And I liked it from the perspective, it would be useful not just for leaders, how to build strong teams, but also to team members, because I observe a lot of people, they have this question, is it like, is this process broken? Like, does this team function not well, or is it just me? And in women, this is it just me is especially strong. So that book gives you a clear framework how to understand when, yes, sometimes it is just you, like, let's be blunt, but often it's not just you. Things are broken, and here is a way to recognize that.
Thank you. Yeah, I have another question. Can you please send an instruction how to register to get a mentor? That's an excellent question. In literally 2 seconds, I'm going to pass the microphone to Helen, who will explain next steps. And for now, I just want to say a big thank you to our panelists for incredible discussion. I learned a lot. I'm sure everybody learned something. And thank you for attending. Thanks to the audience and basically to everybody. And thanks for Women Who Code for making this happen, I guess. Yeah, I guess that's it. And virtual microphone to Helen.
Yeah, thank you, Mary. So to the question, how do you register as a mentee? Because we expect that we are going to get more application from mentees rather from mentors. We wanted to give a head start to mentors. So we either will publish the form for registration, like for mentees application in 2 weeks, or when we'll get 20 applications for mentors, whichever happens sooner. Because as a mentee, there is a very good chance that you might drop out while waiting to find a suitable mentor, because usually there are more mentees than mentors, and we don't want any to dropouts or some misaligned expectations. So that's why the timeline is shifted. Once we do the match, we'll contact you both and share your anonymized profiles. And if you both are interested in establishing this mentor-mentee relationship, we'll put you in touch and help you to supervise and track your progress for the first N weeks. Okay. Someone, Caitlin commented, I'm probably not in the right place for a mentor yet. It's not necessarily true. Believe me, you have more to tell the world because you have overcome some obstacles. Never underestimate what you know. Just apply and we'll try to find a match. Who knows, maybe someone needs exactly you. Can we contact you on LinkedIn? Yes, you can contact us on LinkedIn. We have a LinkedIn page. I am going to send all the necessary information in a few days. Once this video is uploaded to YouTube, I will follow up with an email with all the instructions and all the information. There is another question. Do we have to submit our CV to be a mentor? It would be great to have either a CV or a LinkedIn profile, because we need to do matching. We need to understand like what is your profile and match you with a mentee. So it would be nice. You don't have to describe something like everything in a super eloquent manner. That's fine, but we have to understand your background to do the best possible matching. Okay, any more questions? Going once, going twice. And yeah. Okay, thank you all very much. Again, as I said in the beginning, it's always super, super empowering to see you here. Women Who Code community is just awesome. I've been here 4 years and I do not intend to stop because it is so beneficial. And see you soon all, and have a nice evening.
Bye. Thanks for having me. Have a nice evening, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.